Hello everyone. I just wanted to take you on my journey of what I'm learning. So first I'm gonna show you the walkthrough. I recorded the walkthrough when I first got it. So here it is.
Alright, so turn this off so we can hear each other. This is your on and off switch for your light, in case you want to back up in the middle of the night. Helps you guide back. This is your retract and your extend here. Now if this motor goes out, you do have to remove this guy right here. There is an access port underneath to where you can hand crank it up and down.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Alright, so then moving on to your propane tanks. We do make sure that they're full before you get here, so that they're full whenever you leave. You don't have to hunt down a place to get them filled or find a place to get the new ones, okay? We just make sure that they are turned on. So I'll show you the stove whenever we get inside.
Okay.
It was not turned on either side. Alright, so if you come back over to this side here, you can see the little knob on the dial here.
Yep.
This here indicates we're working off of this tank. If you switch it over to this side, then now we're working off of this tank.
Okay.
Alright. Some people like to put it in the middle and they'll work off of both tanks at the same time, but then you have to get both tanks filled, and so I'd suggest working off of one tank at a time. Alright. Under here, this is going to be a little while because it's the way they put these on here. Oh, this one wasn't so bad. So under here should be two brand new dual purpose interstate batteries. Sometimes there's only one underneath here because they had to replace the box and they put a tube box. So this one should be two, and there it is, both of them. Right? Dual purpose just means that they are worthy of being a marine battery. So if you have a boat, you can, and your boat battery dies, you can snag one from here instead of running out right away and buying one.
Okay.
I'll strap those back together whenever we're done. So around this way, you have your on and off switch so you can see what you're doing for this little light. And if you look right there, that is your on and off switch for your battery. That will turn your battery off. It's called a disconnect. Once it's in the off position.
That little switch right there?
Yeah,
okay.
spinny thing. Once it's in the off position, it does not charge and it does not use any battery. Okay? So basically it keeps those batteries full. Even though I believe this one's got a solar panel on the top, you shouldn't need to turn it off because we had it in the on position when we got it up here. The refrigerator is already cold because somebody left it on.
Okay.
Okay. So around here, you have your stabilizer jacks. I do have to reiterate that these are for stabilization only. Okay, it just basically keeps it from feeling like you're out on the ocean. Keeps you from rocking back and forth. Alright, these little knobs here, this is your black tank flush. That's going to be all the nasty septic poo type stuff. And this here is your gray water, that's your shower and your sinks. Okay? What we normally suggest is if you're staying in it for longer than a week, every 3 to 5 days, that's when you're going to want to open up your black tank. Okay? And then open up your gray tank. That way it rinses it out a little bit. It doesn't allow it to mount up and have a mountain of poop inside there. Okay? When you're traveling down the road, you want to make sure you have your cap on just like this. Otherwise, DOT will give you a fine for dumping hazardous material, whether these are open or not. Okay. Around here you have your outdoor shower. Your outdoor shower is if you're an exhibitionist. Just kidding, you're not really. It's basically if you need to hose down your dog before you take them inside, or maybe stray cats.
Feet.
Your feet. Any significant other that gets a little hot-headed, cool them down with that. What most people usually use it for is rinsing out the inside of their septic instead of just using the gray water, because the gray water's got body wash and all that stuff in it. So, and just under here, it's what they call a low point drain. Basically, any place that might collect water or whatever, whenever you go to store it, you want to drain every bit of water out of it. Otherwise, it's going to get moldy and mildew, and algae is going to start building.
Right.
And that clogs everything up. Comes with your 30 amp cord. We'll make sure that this is back in the bin on the other side before you leave. Looks like it's about a 25 foot, maybe a 30 foot. It does have it marked on the end tag over here, so if you want like a better range of how long it is. Most of the time they only give you about 10 feet worth of space whenever you back it into a spot at an RV park. Okay. Sometimes they have a little bit further to stretch it, but it usually depends.
Right.
This here is going to be your, as it's labeled here, this is your cable. And this one's going to be for satellite. If the park that you're at offers it, you can plug it in from their pole. Okay. This here is going to be your city water connection. For city water, we mean if they have a little water spigot, you can hook a hose to it and run it to here. This here's your fresh tank. You just slide your hose up in there. Whenever it's full, it'll start spewing out here. It's nothing big. It just means that it's full and it's coming out there because there's no place else for it to store it. Then if you go down under here, as I stated before, whenever you go to store it, you want to dump all the bit of water out of it that you can. This right here is for dumping your potted water tank. Okay? And I like the fact that it's the bigger one because sometimes they have the smaller one that's kind of like a Gatorade jug, and it takes forever for it to drain out. Okay. This here is your water heater. I like these with the hinges on it. Other ones just pull off the door and you gotta hold it for the whole time. Alright, so whenever you go to make sure that you've got water hooked up, whether you're using your potted water tank or your actual city fill, you want to make sure that there's water running to it by taking this little knob, give it a little squirt, make sure water drips out, then you know you're good to go in there and turn it on. It does inside have a switch, a selective switch, where it can allow you to use propane or electric. Propane does get hotter faster, and the electric takes about the same amount of time as your house to get hot. Okay. You do have more stabilizer jacks on the back here on both sides, just like in the front. Around here you have your little griddle and some storage space. This right here is going to be your crank for up, raising and lowering your stabilizer joints. I don't know why it's loose, but normally they have it on something in there. Okay. Going around this way, watch your head on this. Before we go around, I want to tell you about your ladder. Your ladder is rated for 250 pounds. Yeah, this one's rated for 250 pounds. I have seen them rated for 300 pounds, but we also have technicians that are pushing for it, so they go up and down these all day long, so you should be okay. Alright, so down in here, again, this is more of your storage. You have your quick connect for your LP gas, so that it'll power your griddle that's inside there.
Oh.
Alright, and then this here is a leg for your table inside. Alright, you'll slide this into a piece that's on the front of one of your couches or whatever, and this is where the tabletop slides right. Now these are magnetized, so you don't have to worry about breaking any straps or clamps that hold it open. So it's just magnetized.
Nice.
You do have your LP disconnect right under there. That's where you would plug in your griddle and everything.
Oh, right there?
Yes.
The yellow thing?
And then this little rack right here would be where you hook the back side of your griddle onto, so you don't have to get a table or anything.
That's
It'll
awesome.
just slide right on there. Right. Some people put out TVs out here, which is why they got you a little bit of power. I don't see a cable outlet here, so most likely it's not for a TV. It's more for a stereo or
whatever you need to plug in.
An electric weed eater or whatever. Okay. This is your furnace exhaust. Okay. We do suggest you get screens to go on the front of them. We do sell them in our accessory store, but you can get them in other places as well. Okay.
Screens for like just a filter? anything
No,
getting in
it
there, or
actually stops bugs from getting in it.
Yeah.
It's more of a bug screen. Like your dirt daubers and your wasps will get in there. Wasps, their nests are a little papery and it can cause fire. Dirt divers will just burn out the motor because it doesn't have a way for it to exhaust. Right. You do have an outdoor speaker. The outdoor speaker is made with a weather-resistant material, so it does have to be turned up a little bit louder than normal for you to actually hear anything out of it. Your awning lights and your awning controls are all on the inside. Okay. You do also have a spot right over here. That is for another solar panel. That's the word.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to use 2 solar panels to charge it, you could do that as well. All right.
Okay.
So if you're ready, we'll go inside where it's hopefully nice and cooled off by now, since we just got it up here. Your TV also doubles as a stereo.
Okay.
One of those special things that they got. All right, so around here is where all your control panel is. It's kind of like Star Trek Enterprise. Your lights for your awning is here. Your step lights here, which is just this little guy right here, so you don't fall out in the middle of the night. This is your interior lights. Going to be everything down the middle. Everything all at once. Usually these little ones back here are on a separate switch. You have your electric water heater, your propane water heater, and this is your tank heater in case you're out somewhere that you know it's going to get below freezing. You don't want all that sludge and stuff in all your tanks to freeze. Okay? Now I'm going to open up your door so you can see that the awning does work. It's not just been up this whole time. Go ahead and bring it in. It is a little bit on the slower side. No reason, just the manufacturer decided that it didn't need to slam shut. Now whenever you take your awning in and out, you want to make sure that your door is not in the way. If your door is fully open, it'll hinder the one side from going out, and then whenever you close your door, it'll slam out, and that's not good for the awning. Okay? You do have a spot on there on here for a Bluetooth connection. Basically, that would be you'd be able to Bluetooth it to your phone and you control all the stuff from your phone as well. All right, as well as your Wi-Fi booster is here. So if you have decent amount of Wi-Fi, but you need it to be a little bit better, this will boost it.
You just push the button and it goes?
Yes. You will have to have your Bluetooth connection and everything to be able to work.
Right.
All right. Around here is your furnace. Alright, you do have your inverter light or inverter switch here. Basically what that's for is if you're boondocking anywhere, that's when you would turn that on. So if you don't have power or you don't have electric or water provided by the city, then you would turn this to on and then you can continue to camp. Okay. Let's see. Just have a convection microwave since you don't have an oven. And then there's your stovetop. With your stovetop, I do believe that this is one of the ones that you do have to have a lighter. So I just forgot mine, so. Now, whenever you're traveling, it is good to have this down, otherwise it could get broke. Usually, somewhere in here, there's going to be a little black that's right here by your feet. That is your LP gas and carbon monoxide detector. What that does is it sounds just like your smoke alarm. It's going to detect any LP gas or propane. It'll also detect exhaust from a car or a vehicle of some kind. And because they're making them so powerful now, certain air fresheners will set them off. Had somebody tell me that they had a candle, one of those fresh scent candles, set it off. So.
Okay. Wow.
Okay. This right here on the other side of you, underneath your table, That's your fuse box and breaker panel. Basically just some car fuses, so you can get those just about anywhere. So your table does lay down into a bed. A lot of times they're a little more complicated than what they need to be. This one actually isn't. If you lift up your table, you can see that it just folds down and then it lays across these little beams here. There is a little bit of Velcro on it to keep it from sliding. And then you would take and move your pads down to where it makes it into a fold. Okay. Your AC control is back here. And it's just a little simple household style. What you would do is it'll also run your furnace. So what you'll do is you'll push the little long button to turn it on, and you can switch it to heat. It'll give it a second for the AC to kick off, and then it kicks right on into the heat. We don't need that because we're in the middle of summer.
So if I'm boondocking, can I run the AC?
If you've got your booster on there,
It'll run it?
it'll run it. Yep, because it's going to continue to, as long as you don't try and, actually this is a 30-year. If you're watching TV and go to microwave something and have your AC and your refrigerator on, something might trip the breaker because it's got more than 3 things running off of it. So, alright, this on and off switch here is for your refrigerator. This is where you would turn your refrigerator on and off. It's been on this whole time, so it has already got ice in the, or at least frost started on the inside of the freezer, if you'd like to see that. Nope, that's cold.
Oh, sorry.
And the refrigerator has a little bit of ice on the inside as well, on the back.
Oh yeah, I see it.
I thought it was just dripping water, and I went to touch it, and it actually was ice.
What's that key in there?
That is the key to the unit.
Oh.
That's the keys that run, that open and close everything. Okay. This is your, basically it shows you that your solar panel is functional and that it is charging. We do have a little switch, we do have a couple buttons right here, like this here says AC, so it'll let you see that we are, the reason why it's doing this is because there's no charge going anywhere because we are plugged in. Okay? A and B is...
So if it was not plugged in, it would show charge was going out.
Correct.
Somewhere. Okay. And then the A and B is...
The A and B is if you decided to add the secondary panel, and then you would hit B to see how B was doing, and A to see what A is doing.
Like the panel that plugs in outside?
Yes.
You mean? Oh, as opposed to the one on the roof?
Right.
Okay.
The one on the roof is going to be your panel A.
Okay.
Plugs over there on that side, that's where with the green light on it.
Nice.
That way, if you decided you want to put like a, I don't know, a toaster oven or a coffee pot, in my case, you don't have to take up all the plugs.
A Vitamix in my case.
What's that?
A Vitamix.
A Vitamix?
Yeah.
Oh, you do that.
Really nice blenders.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Gotta have your mixtures, right?
right. So where would you see how full the water tanks are?
That's back over here. This little gauge,
Oh,
it
right
is
there.
motion censored. So this
I
here
see
is
it.
showing you your fresh water.
Okay.
This is your LP, I believe.
Black.
Oh,
Big
sorry,
gray.
your black tank and your gray tank, and this is your battery power, which is also your.
Nice.
Oh, well, I guess it
And
doesn't
that
have
goes
one
for-
that shows your LP.
What's the LP?
That's your propane, liquid propane.
Oh,
Normally they have a little gauge on here that'll show you that as well.
that would be nice to know that.
Yeah.
Because then, like, how do I know? Tell it just
Well,
doesn't work.
your little switch on the outside, once the one tank, since you're just working off the one tank, that one specific tank, there's a little, you saw the green on it?
I'll just see it again.
There is also red in there. So whenever the red gets about halfway in the little windows that you see.
Oh, it'll show you. Kind of like an oxygen tank.
Yeah, but it's out there.
Nice. Okay, well, that's still fine. That's good to know. And then the battery, that's for one battery?
That's for both batteries.
So it won't really, it just kind of, if it goes to maybe fair, it's like probably one battery is done and then it's go on to the next one?
Yeah, whenever it's about halfway, that's when you know one battery.
We're at fair.
Because it works off of both batteries at the same exact time, most likely you still only have one battery's worth of power, but it's both of them have been drained down at about halfway.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns?
Shower?
Shower? As far as your toilet goes, get this going. Time to be potty trained again. Alright, so whenever you're storing it, you want to always make sure there's water in the bottom. If there's not water in the bottom, that little black seal that you see around the edge will dry out and it won't hold water, so it won't flush properly. If it doesn't flush properly, that means it's not keeping the stink out, and the stink's going to come back up in. Alright? And then
When you're hauling it, do you still want water in there?
just that much.
Just that much, okay.
Or just enough to cover the black seal. Whenever you go to use it, push it down about halfway to fill it up about to where a normal toilet would be. Now you see how it's a little bit of a pink color?
Yeah.
That means it has been winterized. I'm not sure how long we've had it on the lot, but at some point it got winterized and it wasn't flushed out totally. So it's good if you are taking it to someplace that's going to be freezing.
Yeah.
So now that it's full and about to where a normal toilet is, whenever you're done doing your number one or number two, let it evacuate, let it slam shut. If it doesn't slam shut, if you ease it back up, there's a possibility of grabbing that rubber seal and it will rip it, and then you have the same issue if it was to dry out.
Okay.
Okay? That's pretty much your toilet. Alright? That's pretty much it for this little guy.
So that was the walkthrough, and ever since I drove it off the lot, which was my very first time driving a trailer ever, I have kept the trailer hooked up to my truck for the last couple of days, and I've just been driving it around town, and everywhere I went to parking lot, like an empty parking lot, and practiced backing up, and I drove around my block like 100 times and practiced backing into my driveway. My neighbors probably thought I was crazy, but I was getting my practice in. I'm starting to feel get a feel for the trailer. Can't really, I feel it back there, but not as bad as I thought I was going to. I've been YouTubing a lot of tricks and tips, asking people some advice. There's a lot of people, a lot of knowledge out there. So that's what I've been doing. I've been getting used to it. I've been getting used to the turning. It's just when you're backing up, it's like opposite. So it kind of messes me up a little bit. So I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna do it so much. I think that it's gonna become second nature. That's my goal. So tonight, a couple days into the owning the trailer, I booked a campsite that's in my town, like only a few miles away from my house. And it's Florida. It's bugs are so bad. But so I actually drove through the campsite first, then went home and looked on the website of where I wanted the campsites, see how many people were here and everything, because I didn't want a bunch of people here watching how many times I'm going to back it up into the parking space. I just wanted a lot of just space, barely any people around, just me in the trailer, and less, stress. So, and it worked. It really did. I actually had a blast pulling in and out, trying to figure it out, how far I need to be away from the the electricity box and the sewer drain, and just figuring it all out. I brought a YouTube video with me that I had picked out, so I just kind of step by step through the video, went through the video after I parked it in the spot, and it just went really smooth. I was nervous. I thought for sure I was gonna do something wrong, but it looked like everything just works and went very smooth, all the way from backing into the spot to hooking everything up to stabilizer jacks to putting, unhooking from my truck. I think just repetition and practice is going to make it a lot better. So super excited for this journey. My first time hooking up the trailer and parked it in the camping spot all by myself. So I feel pretty darn excited and proud of this. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of give you a rundown of my first time. I call it an experimental camping trip, my first experimental camping trip, because it's still in my town, but it's working. I'm getting to know the trailer, so just kind of learning the tricks and learning how everything works and stuff. So I think it's best just to find a place where you're close to home, so if something happens, you're close. Oh, also, I found this very interesting. So being new to pulling a trailer, so I was driving down the road, a busy part of town, and I usually pull into a certain lane. Well, that's because I do a U-turn and turn around the other direction. Well, you can't do that with a trailer. So I was like, oh, okay, well, that's something I need to get used to. So here I am trying to move lanes for the first time with a trailer, and that was interesting because you can't really see as well as you can without the trailer. So those were just things to think about. So then I had to have more time to transfer lanes just to make sure it was clear, and I needed to find a gas station that I knew of down the street to pull into so I can turn around and then go back out to the light and then turn around. So you have to give yourself more time to switch lanes, and you have to make sure that you have enough room to turn the trailer around to go in another direction. You're just not going to be able to flip a U-turn like you usually do. No. So that was interesting. Also, I got a Furrion observation camera. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I got that when I bought the trailer. Oh my gosh. Because I can see all the cars behind me, and if I didn't have that camera, I wouldn't be able to see what's behind me. I can barely see on my side rear mirrors. I think I need to get those extended mirrors, the RV mirrors, off the truck eventually, but with that camera I can see behind me, which is really nice for changing lanes as well. So I don't know, I'll just keep popping on here and talking about my experience along the way, and I hope you guys enjoy watching the journey because it's gonna be crazy. I'm actually planning on going on a cross-country trip this summer, like actually in a couple of weeks. So that's why I'm kind of hurrying up to try to learn all this stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna stay the night at this campsite, and I will pack up in the morning. All right, good night.